For months, Korea had to deal with a devastating virus that filled the country with zombies. After 180 days with no new cases, the government announces that the state of emergency can finally be lifted. However, Jung-hwan has a big secret. His daughter Soo-hee is a zombie, and he's been keeping her hidden all this time. Today he's brought her some food and Soo-hee tries to attack him, but Jung-hwan easily blocks her. This started some months ago. Jung-hwan works at the local zoo as an animal trainer. He also makes videos for the internet to promote the zoo. Lately he's been teaching a tiger how to dance, and he pulls off some moves for the camera. The tiger actually copies Jung-hwan's walk but doesn't do much more. At home, Soo-hee loves spending her time dancing. Jung-hwan likes to encourage her and give her tips, but Soo-hee doesn't want him in her room and has even put up a sign. When he tries to show her his moves, Soo-hee reminds him that he quit dancing and kicks him out. Jung-hwan then checks on the family cat Jae-young, who also ignores him and prefers to watch TV. The cat clip show is interrupted by a newsflash showing the first zombie attacking civilians on the street. The next day Jung-hwan surprises Soo-hee with a birthday cake, and his mother Bam-soon joins the celebration on a video call. Jung-hwan jokes about not giving Soo-hee her present, so she tickles him until he tells her where to find it. While Soo-hee opens her gift, she hears a weird noise and calls her dad to make him look out the window. Their neighbors are outside having a very weird fight, and Soo-hee starts filming them. The woman pushes her husband against the wall and buries her face in his neck, so Jung-hwan stops Soo-hee's filming because he thinks this is getting dirty. However, when the woman pulls away, they discover she's brutally bitten her husband's neck. When she turns around, the woman reveals she's a zombie. She rushes to their window and starts pounding on it, so the family hides behind the sofa. At that moment Soo-hee's phone starts wailing with an emergency text, but she quickly turns it off. The zombie keeps pounding on the window and the glass is cracking, so Jung-hwan sends Soo-hee to her room with Jae-young. The window finally breaks and the zombie starts climbing inside, but she freezes when Jung-hwan scolds her and threatens to call the cops. Unfortunately it isn't effective and the zombie keeps moving, so Jung-hwan pushes the sofa to trap her against the railing. Then he runs to Soo-hee's room, where she shows him a text from a friend whose mother has also become a zombie. The family decides to run away, only to find utter chaos on the streets with people fighting off zombies everywhere. Even a little doggy has transformed. Jung-hwan tries to call the emergency number, but phone lines aren't working and he only receives texts warning him about an infection spreading around the country. Guessing that the countryside must be safer, Jung-hwan says they should go to Bam-soon's house. At that moment they're surrounded by zombies, so Soo-hee pretends to be one too and roars at the horde to keep them back. Jung-hwan copies her and they both use their dance skills to bend their limbs in funny ways to make it believable. Unfortunately the zombies realize they're lying and try to attack, so the duo starts running. Soo-hee accidentally trips and an old lady tries to bite her, so Jung-hwan stretches his arm to protect her. The zombie bites him instead and luckily she has fake teeth, so Jung-hwan just removes them from his arm without infection. The duo keeps running but there are too many zombies on the streets. Jung-hwan gives Soo-hee the carrier with Jae-young and asks them to wait while he tries to get a car. Then he grabs a traffic sign and uses it to push zombies out of his way as he runs toward a vehicle. As soon as he gets in the car zombies surround him, so Jung-hwan speeds up to throw them off. Then he picks up his daughter and cat to finally leave. Outside the city, Jung-hwan celebrates their escape, but Soo-hee is upset. He notices her fidgeting with her sleeve and immediately takes a look, only to discover she's been bitten. She explains that while she waited, a little kid zombie surprised her from behind. Jung-hwan tries to assure her that she'll be fine, but her body is already transforming and she passes out. When Soo-hee awakens, she's become a zombie. She immediately tries to bite her father, who makes a sudden turn and ends up driving off the road. Jung-hwan reaches for her hoodie and closes it tightly to block a bite. Soo-hee manages to push him down, but Jung-hwan grabs the seatbelt and moves to the backseat. After lots of pulling, Soo-hee hits her head and passes out. In the evening, Bam-soon comes home to find her son waiting outside her house. He tells her that Soo-hee is sick and tries to stop her from going inside, but Bam-soon pushes him off and rushes into the living room to find a huge mess plus Soo-hee growling in the corner. When Bam-soon scolds her for the mess, Soo-hee tries to attack her, however the old lady moves fast and hits her twice with a backscratcher to knock her out. Afterward Soo-hee is tied to a chair and Jung-hwan properly explains the situation, so Bam-soon has a breakdown. On TV, the government is holding a press conference. They say they're working with the military to stop the virus and ask citizens to avoid contact with zombies. The next day Jung-hwan drives to the hospital and makes Soo-hee wait in the car. Inside he finds a crowd gathering around a doctor that just got bitten and a woman protecting her zombie son. Soldiers burst in and tell her to stay away, but as she insists her boy is fine, he bites her too. The soldiers open fire to kill the zombie, so a horrified Jung-hwan runs back to the car. As he watches more soldiers arrive, he decides to keep Soo-hee a secret. When they return home, Jung-hwan takes the phone from Bam-soon to stop her from telling her friends about Soo-hee. He asks her to keep the secret too. While on TV, they announce that harboring zombies is a criminal offense. Jung-hwan refuses to let cops shoot Soo-hee to death and says he'd rather do it himself. After digging a hole in the garden, Jung-hwan raises his shovel to hit his daughter. However, he thinks about all their moments together and he ends up having a breakdown instead. He even hugs her while avoiding her mouth. Bam-soon grabs the shovel and says she can do it, so Jung-hwan has to stop her. While they argue, Soo-hee uses the chance to remove her restraints and run away. Lee-young-yee's meowing alerts Bam-soon and Jung-hwan of Soo-hee's escape, so they immediately run down the village to look for her. Jung-hwan remembers a special spot on the pier and rushes there to finally find her. If she came here because she loved it as a child, it means she still has her memories, so Jung-hwan concludes she's still alive under the virus transformation. He plays a song on his phone and Soo-hee starts dancing, confirming his theory. Later at home, the family watches a video from a scientist explaining that the virus destroys brain cells and only leaves survival instincts. They've been experimenting on rats and discovered that stimulating their brains helps them recover their memories and weakens the virus. Bam-soon tries to feed Soo-hee rice with egg, but the girl ignores her and only eats the meat dishes. At that moment, Dong-bae enters the house because he's heard that his childhood best friend is back in town. Jung-hwan and Bam-soon try to keep him away, but Dong-bae ends up seeing Soo-hee anyway. He runs to the street and tries to call the police, but Jung-hwan stops him and explains his theory. When Dong-bae doesn't believe him, Jung-hwan shows him a video of Soo-hee dancing in her zombie state and swears he'll train her just like he used to train tigers. After the girl falls asleep, Jung-hwan informs Bam-soon that Dong-bae wants them gone by morning. As soon as the sun rises, Jung-hwan goes outside and finds Dong-bae sleeping in his car. However, Dong-bae has brought good news. There's a pharmaceutical company working on a cure, so he'll allow Jung-hwan to keep his daughter while they wait. To stay safe until then, the family takes Soo-hee to a deserted island where they plan to train her. Jung-hwan starts by trying to teach her to shake hands, but Soo-hee bites the glove on the stick. A terrified Dong-bae wants to run away and Jung-hwan reminds him not to show his back, yet Soo-hee chases after him anyway. Next, Jung-hwan goes for social training and manages to make Soo-hee double blink like a cat. Suddenly she tries to bite him, so Jung-hwan blows a whistle to stop her. He thinks his training is working, however Soo-hee only froze because Bam-soon is threatening her behind Jung-hwan's back. The next day the guys make Soo-hee exercise, and Jung-hwan takes some pictures since he's starting a diary to keep track of her progress. Bam-soon keeps her well fed and Jung-hwan notices his daughter isn't as bitey if she's full. As days pass, the number of zombies around the country starts decreasing, and the government raises the reward for reporting infected people. The family keeps working together and even manages to enjoy themselves. Eventually they feel safe enough to return home. One morning, Jung-hwan checks on his daughter and he has to quickly block her attack. To his surprise, Soo-hee slowly backs off and stops growling. Jung-hwan offers her his arm and Soo-hee almost bites it, but she stops herself at the last second. Pleased by such great progress, Jung-hwan decides to teach Soo-hee how to talk, but the only noise she makes is growling. Bam-soon thinks Soo-hee's lack of biting means they can take her out now, but first they need to fix her looks. Jung-hwan goes downtown and buys some makeup. When he's about to leave, he sees his first love Yeon-hwa and tries to hide, but she finds him anyway. She offers to give him a ride and shares that she's now a teacher at the school they used to attend. Yeon-hwa wants to visit Bam-soon and meet Jung-hwan's daughter, so he forces her to stop the car and goes home on foot to keep her away. In the evening, Jung-hwan and Dong-bae are at a restaurant where they're suddenly approached by Yeon-hwa. She's heard that Jung-hwan is divorced and that Soo-hee is being treated for a brain disease, so she apologizes for her attitude earlier. Yeon-hwa reveals she only has 3 students this year, so she thinks she could take care of Soo-hee as well, but Jung-hwan refuses. On TV, they announce that it's been 200 days with no zombies found, so the virus is close to reaching its end. Yeon-hwa admits she hates zombies and shares that her fiancé got infected, so she was forced to kill him. Later at home, Jung-hwan checks Yeon-hwa's social media and finds many pictures of her with a sword. He also learns that she received an award for the most reported zombies. Meanwhile, Soo-hee is enthralled by a commercial promoting a cosplay festival. The next day Jung-hwan goes to the city and sees the cops trying to keep a protest under control. People are demanding to know the real cause behind the virus and asking for justice for the killed infectees. At his old apartment, Jung-hwan gathers his daughter's clothes and discovers a box in the closet. Inside there are pictures of Soo-hee with her friends and her diary, but when Jung-hwan is about to read it, he imagines his daughter is there to tell him not to do it. She asks him to be patient while she recovers and they end up dancing together. However, when Jung-hwan remembers he's imagining things, he has a breakdown. Among the pictures, there's one of last year's cosplay festival and he remembers how enthralled Soo-hee was by the TV ad. Jung-hwan rushes back to town and convinces Dong-bae to help him take Soo-hee to that festival because it could help her regain her memories. Then Jung-hwan goes home and discovers that Yeon-hwa is having dinner with Bam-soon. At that moment Soo-hee tries to leave her room, so Jung-hwan rushes to push her back inside before Yeon-hwa can see her. Soo-hee then starts growling and pounding on the door, and Yeon-hwa thinks the noise sounds familiar. Jung-hwan quickly blows his whistle to distract her and drags her out of the house, firmly telling her to never come back. The next day Bam-soon puts makeup on Soo-hee to get her ready for the festival. Dong-bae shows up dressed as Thor because being in costume gets discounts at the festival. Bam-soon then shows them the final result and the men are surprised by how beautiful Soo-hee looks. While the guys take Soo-hee to the festival, Bam-soon attends a town meeting where the chief announces they've received an award for being zombie-free. Bam-soon spits her drink in shock and Yeon-hwa grows suspicious. The chief then asks Bam-soon why her granddaughter isn't going to school and Bam-soon tries to explain that Soo-hee is sick, but the chief says it's a bad excuse and Yeon-hwa agrees. A nervous Bam-soon claims that Soo-hee is being homeschooled and tries to leave the meeting, but she stays when the chief tells her they'll do karaoke. At the festival, the guys have lots of fun in all the attractions, but Soo-hee continues to have the same absent expression. Jung-hwan shows her pictures of her previous visits to no avail. At that moment Dong-bae reads some news about the cure for the zombie virus being close to use authorization. The men hug and celebrate, but when they turn around Soo-hee is gone. Meanwhile Soo-hee is following a delicious smell and bumps into another woman, causing her to fall. At first she growls at her, but she's more interested in the smell and leaves instead of attacking. Eventually she makes it to a food booth and takes a churro without paying, causing the clerk to freak out. At that moment the guys find her and Soo-hee shocks her father by saying the word churros. Jung-hwan hugs her as he cries in happiness, then he tells the clerk he'll buy all the churros he has. When Bam-soon gets home, she finds Lee-young-yi meowing in frustration because he's eaten too much. It turns out Yeon-hwa has fed him to distract him and now she's waiting there with her sword. Bam-soon tries to kick her out, but Yeon-hwa pulls out the progress diary with Soo-hee's zombie pictures. Yeon-hwa wants to know if Soo-hee's mother knows about this and Bam-soon tells her that her daughter is dead. Now Yeon-hwa is confused because Soo-hee's parents are siblings, but she ignores the issue and calls the police. Bam-soon takes the phone from her and explains that Jung-hwan isn't Soo-hee's biological father. Her real dad abandoned the mother to work in the city, and would only show up now and then to ask for money. Jung-hwan always stayed by his sister's side to help her raise the baby and enjoyed being a babysitter. On the night of Jung-hwan's birthday, Dong-bae dragged him to a bar to celebrate and Soo-hee was left alone at home. After the party, he called his sister to assure her everything was fine, but she was furious. She was so distracted by this call that when she crossed the street, she was run over by a car and instantly killed. Since then Jung-hwan has been taking care of Soo-hee, who chose to call him dad when she was still a baby. The insurance money from the accident was taken by the biological father, who ran away with his mistress. At that moment Soo-hee and the guys come back. Yeon-hwa immediately gets her sword and attacks, so Jung-hwan protects his daughter and the sword hits him on the back. Soo-hee growls at Yeon-hwa and tries to attack her, but Jung-hwan makes her stop. Yeon-hwa is shocked to see that a zombie following orders, but she refuses to believe it's real because it'd mean she didn't give her fiancé a fair chance. She attacks with her sword again, knocking down Dong-bae before Jung-hwan and Bam-soon block her. Then Bam-soon makes everyone calm down by revealing another problem. The chief wants Soo-hee at school tomorrow, otherwise the school board will come to drag her out. Jung-hwan thinks it's a bad idea, but Yeon-hwa points out that if Soo-hee is as well as he says, school shouldn't be a problem. If they don't send her to school, Yeon-hwa will call the police. The next day, Soo-hee goes to school with lots of makeup on. Yeon-hwa tells the other students that Soo-hee was in an accident and can't speak well as a cover-up story. When Jung-hwan shows up with food for his daughter, Yeon-hwa leaves the classroom to receive him. Two students take the chance to start harassing Soo-hee for wearing makeup and touch her face, only to scream when her eyes end up looking in opposite directions. Jung-hwan immediately rushes to fix it while pretending it's another side effect from the accident. During gym class, Soo-hee picks up a ball but doesn't know how to pass it to her classmates, so she ends up dropping it. While playing basketball, the other girls just push her to the ground to get her out of the way. Jung-hwan is nervous around her and panics when she sees her do the I thing again while asking for the ball in a creepy voice. However, this is just her imagination and when she throws the ball, it hits Soo-hee in the face. Jung-hwan has been watching everything from the bushes and immediately comes out to take his daughter away. At Dong-bae's pharmacy, Jung-hwan asks for his help since Soo-hee's face is deformed now. Dong-bae massages Soo-hee's face in a very strange way, but manages to make it look normal again. Unfortunately, it only lasts a few seconds and he has to start over. Yeon-hwa then arrives to apologize and gives them a bag of apples from the other kids, who are waiting outside. Soo-hee looks at them and raises her hand to wave awkwardly, which shocks Yeon-hwa. That night, Jung-hwan and Yeon-hwa discuss the situation in a restaurant. Yeon-hwa doesn't know if admitting she was wrong or keep hating zombies, which makes her act a bit crazy. At home, Bam-soon plays cards with Soo-hee, who finally laughs again. At that moment someone knocks on the door and Bam-soon is horrified to find Soo-hee's father, who shows her a video on his phone. The woman who bumped into Soo-hee at the festival has recorded her and is complaining about her online. When the man makes his way inside, Bam-soon and Lee-young-yi start attacking him. The guy is stronger so he just kicks the cat and knocks Bam-soon down. Then he ties Soo-hee up and takes her away in his car, hoping the cops will pay him well for a zombie. At the bus stop, Jung-hwan gets a call from Bam-soon telling him what happened so he immediately runs through the forest to reach the road faster. Suddenly he trips and falls, so his body slides down the hill until it lands in the middle of the street. The car almost runs over him, but the driver stops it just in time. Then Jung-hwan punches his brother-in-law and unties Soo-hee, only for the other man to jump on him and hit him several times. The guy blames Jung-hwan for his wife's death, so a furious Jung-hwan tackles him and starts punching him in the face. His brother-in-law tells him about the viral video and offers to split the cash reward, distracting Jung-hwan enough to bite him and throw him off. As the man continues to beat Jung-hwan up, Soo-hee finally snaps and jumps on her biological father to bite his neck. Jung-hwan pulls her away and manages to calm her down with a few words. When the new zombie tries to attack them, Jung-hwan quickly fights back. Afterward Jung-hwan takes Soo-hee home and notices she has a fever. Bam soon asks about her son-in-law and Jung-hwan only says he won't return. Later Jung-hwan tells Dong-bae that he'll leave with Soo-hee, so he wants his friend to pretend he didn't know anything to protect himself. When Jung-hwan gets home, Bam soon insists to come along. Even Lee keeps jumping into the boxes because he also wants to come. The next morning, Bam soon meets with Yeon-hwa because she's supposed to give her a letter from Jung-hwan. However, she freezes when she sees some military trucks arrive in her little town. She tries calling Jung-hwan to warn him, but the phone is out of service. Then Bam soon opens the letter to learn that her son tricked her and he's already left with Soo-hee. By the time the soldiers make it to their house, they only find the cat. At the pier, Jung-hwan is getting the boat ready to leave for the island, but unfortunately the soldiers arrive and surround the place. The duo hides inside a building and Jung-hwan announces he'll only come out if they promise not to kill Soo-hee. However, the soldiers say they don't negotiate with criminals and start hammering the door. Jung-hwan apologizes to Soo-hee for failing to protect her and asks her to bite him so they can be together forever. Soo-hee refuses, so a crying Jung-hwan hugs her and asks again until she bites his neck. Suddenly the soldiers burst in and open fire, so Jung-hwan acts as a shield and is shot down. A devastated Soo-hee watches him collapse while finally saying the word daddy. Hearing this, the captain makes his men stop the fire. Jung-hwan congratulates his daughter for being able to talk and touches her cheek before he dies. Soo-hee has a breakdown while remembering the day she and Jung-hwan made a snowman. That day, she called him uncle and thanked him for being her dad. Sometime later Soo-hee wakes up in the hospital completely recovered. Bam soon takes her to another room and reveals they did save Jung-hwan, but he's in a coma. Neutralizing antibodies have been found in his blood and are now being used for the cure, so his face appears on the news all over the world. Doctors theorize that he developed immunity while training Soo-hee and it was his blood that cured her. Soo-hee reads the progress diary and breaks down when she realizes how much he did for her. Many days later, Soo-hee joins the dance competition. Bam soon records it all and Yeon-hwa plays it for Jung-hwan at the hospital. This causes his finger to start twitching.